Good morning, everyone. It's June 9th, 2021. I'm Kimberly Jolly from Fat Quarter Shop FlossTube, and I am back from vacation, super refreshed, and have lots of stuff to show you. I'm going to start off with announcing that we are adding a cross-stitch newsletter. So we're a quilt company, but we've added cross-stitch, and some of our customers don't like, if they're just a quilter, they don't want to see cross-stitch. So I would love for all of you to sign up for our brand new newsletter. The link is in the description box. There's 3 ways you can do it. The description box below. You can go to the bottom of our website, and there's little words that say cross-stitch newsletter. Click on that and sign up. Or you can use the search bar and you can sign up that way. So there's 3 ways to sign up, and so it'll be great if you're into just cross stitch. You can be in that newsletter and not have to worry about the quilting. So definitely would love your support on that. And I'm gonna start off with some of the stuff we released while I was out of town. So the first item is our brand new stitch card set I. Those are all designed by Holt. We will have soon some containers to hold them, so there'll be a cute way for you to store all of these. Now, these were stitched by Denise, and they're at Lori's house, and next week she's gonna turn them into something. She might turn them into a pillow. She might frame them. She might turn them into a bag. Who knows? But when she finishes them, she will ship them back to us so we can see. And all of her stitch cards have a stitch count of 24 by 24. And you can interchange borders between designs if you would like to also. With this, we also have a thread pack. If you are in our stitch card club, your patterns have shipped to you. And now we've added the thread, so you can grab that if you're interested. But I'm super, super, super excited and honored to show you something from a fellow floss tuber. I saw these on her channel. Her name is Javagirl Stitches. That's her channel name. Her name is Christy Potter, and she has been making pillows using Holt stitch cards. And I just wanted to show them to you in person because I love how they're finished, and I love them when I saw them. So this one right here, she stitched, this fabric is Holt's 25 count Prim Lugana. And this is just fabric from her stash. So it has a covered button, cloud vintage trim, and then on the back, you can barely see where she closes it up. So she's really a great seamstress. So I'm gonna show you all of her pillows. This one comes from stitch card B. The next one, she made vertical instead of horizontal. And this one is how you can get really creative. This fits this little rooster, chicken, something, I don't know, animals. It just fit, and she put a different border on it from one of the other stitch cards. So you could put this chicken in here and have different borders. So basically everything here is 24 by 24. And that's from one of Lori's Happy Farm Girl patterns that was one of our very first releases. And I'm gonna keep adding. So the next 4 that I'm gonna show you are from set D. And so you can see that she's been collecting these as Lori has been releasing them and adding to her little bowl of pillows. This one was stitched on Barley 25 count. So Barley 25 count, Prim 25 count. Now all of these 4 from set D are on 25 count oatmeal. So she's got the beehive, and she's got the bee, the flower, and I'm trying to make them all fit. And then she's got the little watering can. And then the last one that she sent was from stitch card set E, and it's the little glamping van. So I just wanted to show those, and if you haven't watched her channel, she's got a great channel. She does a lot of cute finishing ideas. I did want to point out some fun things that she did with these. And so some of these she has a heart, some of them she has a covered button. Her consistency is having this twill, I don't know, it's like a ribbon, maybe like a twill ribbon. Now some of them she added an inner, like a little border here before the big piece. And then some of them she put the button on the left, some she put on the right, and some have X's and some don't. So, and then this one has vintage trim, vintage trim, vintage trim, vintage trim. So it's a fun way to where you can interchange them, make them different. You can make them small, you can make them big, you can make them horizontal, you can make them vertical. And I love her channel, and I love that she was so nice to share these with us. And I'm just going to show the backs of all of them because all the backs are also different. So I talked about that seam. Well, this one she put Lori's natural, it's called Natural Bee Lace, and she put that on the back. It looks like she glued it and then tied a little thread over a button. And so some of them are just plain, and then some have buttons, some have twill tape or lace. So really, really fun. It really inspires me to want to do some pillows like this. Of course, I've made a lot of the stitch cards, but mine are already all finished up into other things. So I might have to maybe have something where in next year, 2022, we can do a pillow of the month. And what we can do is I can pick one fabric that I use throughout, and I'll use the called for DMC, and I'll use the same fabric. I'm not sure what fabric I'm going to use yet. And then next year, I'm going to make one pillow each month. I will use this as an inspiration for it, and of course, give her credit, and then she can join us. So again, Javagirl Stitches, Christy Potter. So let me know. I'm going to answer questions if there's any questions on that. Anna said, yes, 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 that's my best friend, and she's so amazing. So excited to see her work on your live stream. We love all things Lori Holt and FQS. Oh, thank you, Anna. What is everybody working on? I've got flea market flowers out to play. Yes, tell us what you're working on. Tell us who your favorite designer is. I always love to hear kind of what everybody else is doing versus what I'm doing, because I'm kind of in my little bubble, and it's always great to see kind of what everybody else is doing. Yikes, I purchased some Cajun shrimp nail polish, and now Kimberly is wearing a different color. So I got my nails done when I was on vacation, and they had 10. I mean, I don't know what's going on in Wisconsin, but definitely nails is not a thing in Wisconsin, because they had 10 colors. So I just told the lady who was doing my nails, I said, oh, just pick whatever. Are the Javagirl pillows all using called for DMC? I am not sure. I actually, oh, she's in chat. So she will answer you, because I don't remember. She did a video. The video is number 38 FlossTube on the Javagirl stitches, and she shows them there, and that's where I saw them, because I always like to watch other FlossTubers to get inspiration, and anytime I see something I love, I want to share the love. So these are so cute. I love them. This is probably, let me see if I can pick a favorite, and then y'all can pick a favorite. I think this one's probably my favorite, because those are my colors, right? So I'm going to mail these back to her, but I would love for you to follow her channel. Tell her you found us at the Fat Quarter Shop FlossTube, so she knows that you found her here. And I wanted to say thank you to, oh, Denise, Goose Designs, love Chrissy's pillows. Thank you for the super chat. I know you guys are really good friends, so that's super awesome. I love all the cross promoting. And I'm gonna move to Patchwork Seasons, which is our brand new PDF. It came out this Monday, so I have everything actually in my Goose bag. So she puts a little tag, so it's great, so then I can always remember who made the bag. So she sent me this bag a while back, And this is our third in the series. This is a paid PDF, so you can purchase this PDF only at Fat Quarter Shop. And we did a couple of different things with this. We are offering this both as a DMC thread pack or an NPI thread pack. And yesterday on my Stitchy Talk video on this channel, I talked about the difference, and we really want to be able to offer lots of different things. So you're gonna start seeing just random threads with random things because we want everybody to get a feel and find what they love. I will say that working with the NPI silk, I have 0 knots, 0 knots. I cannot tell you how much I love that, but you're gonna pay for it. So, you know, it's more expensive, but that's the benefit. So there's always a cost benefit with what you're buying. But I am really loving the NPI. And if I was on a smaller budget or didn't work here, I think the DMC will look perfectly fine also. I'm gonna show you the fabric. This is how the fabric comes. We are trying for the first time using hand-dyed fabric from Color and Cotton, and we love the Pearwood color. We thought it would be great. It is hand-dyed. Now, I found that when I looked at the front of mine and the back of mine when I started, they looked the same. So there wasn't really a difference to me. And then I'm gonna kind of move what I have and then show you the finished piece that Priscilla from Stitching with the Housewives, priscillas2000.blogspot.com. I'm sure she will do a blog post and talk about how she finished this. So this one was stitched by Terry. Sorry, Terry stitched this, and when Terry stitched it, she stitched on the same fabric that I just showed you, and she stitched with NPI. And so mine will look similar to hers. Now, NPI silk is just a solid color. It does not have variegation. And the way that we designed this was 2 blues, 2 reds, 3 grays, and 1 white. And so you're gonna see that it's not, this looks like a flying geese. It's not just triangles all over the place. Some of them are squares. And we do that so that there is a flow and a movement. And so I did want to let you know this fabric right here is 9300-8, which is the Priscilla plaid red check. And then this is a Hampton Art white medium fence plank from Walmart. The number is WD0797. And of course, thank you to Priscilla for finishing this for us. And she will put all this information on her blog so that if you need some inspiration. And I stitched this on Stitchy Talk yesterday, so you can check that out. I would always love when you guys watch my videos. And I want to show you kind of a couple of things. Now this is very wrinkly, and it's wrinkly because I do this little number, and you'll see that. And then I put it in my hand. So it gets wrinkly, but those wrinkles will come out. And the way that I'm gonna divide the pattern, this is taking me quite a bit of time. So this has taken me about 15.5 hours, which is quite a lot. But I decided I would do the pole and all the white and blue first. And then what I'm thinking is over the next 3 weeks, I'm gonna do all the white stripes first and then all the red stripes. So that means I might be able to get it done in the next 2 weeks. I might be able to get it done in the next 3 weeks. It really doesn't matter how fast I do it, because when I send this to Priscilla to finish for me, it's not going to be ready, and I'm not going to be able to put it out until 2022, which is totally fine with me because I have lots of other patriotic stuff that I can put up in my house that I'm going to show you in a little bit. And thank you so much to Priscilla and Chelsea for all your support and for finishing all my things. It's so appreciated. And I also wanted to show you how I am using my threads. I am using the Floss Bitties, Sail Away Floss Bitties. And you can see, I must have been tired because I put that on the wrong side. That was last night. Yesterday was on right. So when I start a project, I'm a little OCD, so I kind of will do, you can see, you can totally see the OCD right here. So I did 2 of the little rings, 2 anchors, 2 sailboats, and 2 crab, because I am very OCD. So I did get my pack and do that. And I am using this little clip right here. These are Wonder Clips, and I just put that there to hold it, and you can see that in yesterday's. The other thing is, when I start a project, the very first thing that I do is I try to be very organized. So the first thing I do is I cut my fabric. So I figure out my finished size on the appropriate fabric. I add 4 inches to that and cut my fabric and serge it. Now, this one, you can see at the bottom that it comes serged already, but at the top we have a different stitch, and that's because I cut my fabric down because it comes much bigger, and then I'm gonna save that other half for something else. So that's the first thing I do when I get a project. The second thing I do is I get all of my thread and I put it on either a floss bitty, a floss flower, a beekeeper, or the new floss keepers. That's the second thing I do. Now, if I have duplicate SKUs, so for example, in this thread pack, there's an extra white, an extra gray, and 2 extra reds. I don't open these because maybe I won't need them. You never know. So I leave those in the little plastic bag, and when I run out of white, which of course I know I'm gonna run out of white, I'm gonna add the white to my little floss. So that's the third thing I do. And then the next thing I do is I put it in my cross stitch journal, which is right here. And you can tell it's getting all beat up. It's been all around the United States. So I put, I love to do this because in 2 or 3 years, which I'm about to show you some projects from 2 or 3 years ago, and we went straight to this cross stitch journal from that year. I do date them. Like when I'm done at the beginning, I will put, so I put 2021 cross stitch. And when I'm done, I will know when I go back, hey, that's the year. And then if this was not shown on FlossTube, I would have my phone number there instead of my email, but since it's on FlossTube, I didn't put my phone number. And I put the threads I use, the fabric, when I start it, when I finish it, who the designer is, and the name of the pattern, and then I'm gonna just write out my hours. So that's, oh, it's only 14.25 hours, not 14.5. And then after I gather all those things, I've got my pattern, my fabric, my thread, I've got it all journaled so that one day if I need it, I can go back to it. And I grab a bag. And I either use one of the bags we sell, or one of the bags I've bought from Goose Design, or one of the bags that she has sent me some for free. But I try to match them, and that way when I go pick up my project, I'm like, oh, I'm working on Patchwork Seasons, that's Americana, hey, Americana bag. So I do find that by keeping myself very organized up front in the beginning, that it's a much smoother process because everything is organized. So I'll just dump all this in here. I basically will kind of do this. And I don't worry about it being wrinkled or anything like that. The most important thing is just to keep it in a bag so that, you know, it doesn't get dirty from dirt or wear or anything like that. And so, let's see, Simply 3rd Street says, I love the color and cotton feel. Can you get it in 16 count, Aida? Yes, we will. And we can do several sizes in the 16 count. And I will give you my review on color and cotton. I was very worried because I really like my Aida to be stiff. So I was afraid when I was stitching in hand that it would be kind of hard to get, to be able to stitch in hand, and I've had no problem. It's worked great. It wrinkles more, but at the end it doesn't matter because it's going to all iron out. What is a good alternative to the Pearwood color? Vintage Country Mocha would be similar. And that one on the back has modeling on one side and flat on one side, so that would be similar. Does the Lori Holt Prim Lugana come in a smaller package? No. So how that works is Riley Blake orders bolts of what Lori picks, and they cut it down for her. And so what they offer is the size that she has. Now she's done some bigger, she's done some smaller, but she just tries to figure out what she thinks is going to sell the best. When will Lori's kaleidoscope be shipping out? It will be shipping out in 1.5 weeks. It just literally got off the printer yesterday. It's got to get on a truck, and we get all of our books printed in the United States. We get them printed in Wisconsin, I believe, and they have to ship from Wisconsin to Texas. We got to check them in, and then we'll put it online. But yes, I'm very excited to get that too. So now I'm going to, now that I've shown you kind of the stuff I've been working on this week and what I was able to get done this week, well, I'll show this now. This actually is something else I worked on this week. So this is my calendar crates July. I'm in the Fat Quarter Shop Club, and on this one I'm stitching on the chalkboard black 14 count. I'm using the called for colors. This design is by Priscilla and Chelsea of Stitching with Housewives. So I put same thing. Everything is in this bag. It might not be, everything's just thrown in there. So, and everything fits in that bag. Let me pick this up. But I do want to show you something else that I did. So I literally throw everything in, but I do keep this little bitty board here. So these are the red, white, and blues that I've pulled off of the skeins, or the, you know, where the thread is. And I just kind of put my leftovers here, and it sticks. It doesn't fall off, and you saw it just came right out of that box, just like that, so that I'm ready to go. But I wanted to show you that I went back, I had made this, and I added the green, because I hadn't added the green. So I did add that green, the little leaves. And then this is how much I got done while I was on vacation. Now let's see how much time I spent on this. So this is July calendar crates. I have spent 9 hours doing this. Now I think I would have been a lot more efficient if I wasn't on vacation trying to do this. So let's see. Kind of my plan for this is to finish filling in. These are all of the flowers. I just need to finish filling in the red, finish the house. Then I'm going to do the flag, and then I'm going to do all these little fireworks. And so I probably have about 6 or 7 hours left in this, but if I sit down and I'm not like on a plane and going back and forth, I think it'll go faster. But I really like this one. I love those flowers, and I love that they're all the same. So that's why I did all of them. I did do all this straight stitching here on the plain, so that, because I had the white done, but I didn't have the red or the blue. So I did those on the plain, because then you don't have to think. People just look at me strange, like, what is that lady doing over there with that big old light? And I'm going to show you some pictures of that too. But I really love this one, and we just shipped out our August calendar crates. So I am excited because now I can start mine. And this one, there's a funny story. I have 2 needles here. Gosh, I wonder why. Because I was on the plane and I dropped a needle and couldn't find it. So I just got out another needle, and then I found my needle. It was on my shirt, I think. So yeah, that was kind of fun. So I just literally pop this all right back in. And this was a great bag to go on vacation with, because it's not big, and that putting this little bitty board in here gives the bag a lot of stability. So you can just put it anywhere and it's not going to go anywhere. It's not going to be flimsy because I've got that in there. So that's another thing that I work on. Oh, okay. And then Dot Goose is asking, how's Piggy? He's a hot mess. I'm actually going to show you a picture of him right now. We're going to pop up a little picture of him. He has a little cone on his head. I came back from out of town, and he has bumps all over him. And I'm not going to show you the top of his head because you probably never watch me again. But he has some kind of staph infection, and he got it from, the vet said, probably from the stress of us being gone. And so he has 3 medicines that he takes now. He's taking like a, pill to get rid of this infection. He has to be like mousse all over his body twice a day, and then his head, he's got a little thing there, and it's medicine. So he's quite the mess, but he's gonna get fixed, and I feel really bad and guilty that he got sick, but he'll be okay. So we're gonna take him back next Monday to the follow-up vet to see kind of how the progress is, and if it's not getting better, then change the medicine. So he's on a good plan for being good. But yes, I am very sad about that. And we are getting a new cone, because that cone, he doesn't like it. So we're getting a fabric cone that we bought off Amazon so that he can actually eat and he'll be more comfortable when he sleeps, because he's been having a hard time sleeping. So now I'm going to talk about FQS Stitch Mania. So Mania is something that was started by a Facebook group about 5 or 6 years ago, and they have since closed their group. And so we just kind of went with the same thing, used their idea, and just made it kind of our own, to just make it, just to sew along with them too, because we were sewing along with them when they were open. So we're calling it FQS Stitch Mania. And I worked on a lot of things, I think 12 items. And so I'm going to do a summary here, because last year and the last couple of times we've done this, we've gotten a lot of questions about what did you finish? What were you able to finish? So I'm going to do a summary now of what I was able to finish in 1 month. And it'll be a great reference. So if somebody asks me in a couple of months, oh, what did you do in FQS Stitch Mania? We can say, go to this video at this timestamp. So the first item is Farmhouse Christmas. Now this one I started in January of 2021. And so I did January, February, March, April, May. And during this, I thought this is gonna be so easy because it's a quilt block. And then I realized it was all stitching. Every little thing is stitched. So this took me quite a bit of time. Let's see, I'll tell you how long it took me. Oh, it only took me 6.5 hours. That's not too bad. And so in June, this month, I'll do this at some point. I'll do this. And then as part of Jolly July, which we will talk about in detail next week or the week after, one of the two, we'll do this month. Now there's a total of 9 patterns. We sell them at Back Quarter Shop. There are 9 total. So you could just buy one if you wanted and just do one. And I did change my colors. And finally we have the thread pack. So we have been waiting on one color to arrive. So if you want to make this just like I did, now we have a thread pack. And thank you to our awesome employees, Denise and Cody. They made this, and it tells you Diane's colors that are on the pattern, my colors, and what we've included. And these are the colors that I picked. And I am stitching this on Beautiful Beige by Witchell, and it's 16 count. So I will say the only negative to this one is doing the 16 count is much slower for me. And I am stitching, I'm not doing 1X at a time. I'm just stitching in rows like I showed in the video yesterday. And you can see there is some variation even though I do it not the right way. So that's my first item. And here is, I'm gonna show this now. This is our thread pack. Now it will sell out, and when it sells out, we'll make more. So what happens is, because there are 5 skeins of bamboo and 2 skeins of licorice red, we only get a certain amount each week of those 2, and also the black coffee. Those are the 3 colors that sell the most: bamboo, black coffee, and licorice red. I think they sell the best because those are 3 colors that Priscilla and Chelsea use over and over. So they're in lots of thread packs. So if one of those sells out, then we just have to wait for the next shipment and the next shipment. So that's the first item. And then I have a lot of finishes from that. This pattern, Hey Pumpkin, was part of our Stitch Quarterly in 2020. And I wasn't able to make it. Now this pattern, we wrote it for 10 count in Lori's fabric. So I changed it a little bit to this. And this is Lori's brand new prairie cloth. It's 20 count, so you stitch over 2. I stitch with 4 strands. And let me see what, I have another thing to say. I just have to find it in my book real quick. So I used 3 strands. 2 strands was too thin, 4 strands was too thick, And I ended up using a size 26 pack Carson needle. And what's great about knowing that is I have to put this needle back in my container before I send this to Priscilla to finish. So I know exactly where it goes in my bag because I have 3 different needle cases. And I did convert to Aurifloss. And this was written for DMC. So I made that using Aurifloss, and I love Aurifloss. And this one, I have quite a bit left over, so I probably could have trimmed this down a little bit more. I think I was just a little bit nervous to trim it down because I'd never used 20 count and just wasn't really sure. And that was actually easy for me. I was able to see the holes. The next one that I did start and finish during FQS Stitch Mania is Fresh Cut, another Stitch Quarterly pattern. So with the Stitch Quarterly patterns, I never stitch those as the samples because I have to stitch on camera when I'm stitching with you guys. So I'm never able to make these samples. So I love to be able to go back and make them after the fact. So this one right here, I did change the colors. I will tell you I'm not 100% happy with what I picked. Let's see, I stitched this on 14 count Feed Sack Aida by Holt. And I took the colors from the pattern and wrote my classic color works. And it took me about 15 hours. So you can see this took me 15 hours and the flag, I've already put 15 hours in. So that tells you the difference between solid stitching and not solid stitching. So I'm trying to find mine real quick. I don't know where I put it. Just to show you as an example. So this took me 15 hours. And there's a lot of open space, right? A lot of start and stop. This took me 15 hours because this is all solid stitching. And the reason I keep track of my time is that way I can plan the stripes, how long I think those will take. And on this one, I'm just not happy with my greens, but I think once Priscilla works her magic and finishes it, it'll look great. So I'm hoping that that's the case because I don't love my colors. But I always like to take something, change it a little bit and show it to you so that you can see how at home you can do the same thing where you don't have to just take a pattern and keep it exactly how we have it. You can always have a good time changing the colors. Another one that I was able to start and finish in FQS Stitch Mania was our mystery, Sail Away. That's no longer a mystery. And these are the floss bitties that I used for Freedom Patchwork. So this was designed in-house by Cody. And so Cody draws it. And then Sarah does the patterns. And so it takes a big crew of us to do all of these things. And here is mine finished. And I love it. So I have decided where I'm going to put this, and I'm going to buy, I don't have any nautical pieces, but I'm going to try to find some nautical pieces to put with it. And let's see, this one I stitched on 14 count Touch of Blue Aida by Witchell, and it took me about 20 hours. And the reason it took so long is there's a lot of heavy stitching here and a lot of heavy stitching here. Now this was pretty easy. Another one that I was able to start and finish is Stitchy Stars by Holt. So this is a paper pattern. It will be a PDF in 5 or 6 months. And here it goes. So this one, I used the same cloth and the same thread. I didn't change anything. So this is 14 count Oatmeal by Aida, and this by Holt, sorry. This one, you can see it's modeled on the front, plain on the back. So this is Oatmeal, and I used the called for Weeks Dye Works. I did want to show, do we have the sample? I want to show one thing on this that I found super interesting. Oh, I have a big fuzz there. Now this one, so I made this one just like this, and we're probably going to finish it just like this. I'm probably just going to send the board to Priscilla. But one thing that I did notice is I stitch in rows. So you can tell that, see that red, how I stitched in rows? You still get the variegation. And Cheryl stitched the sample. I'm going to move this a little bit. Oh, sorry, Lori stitched it. So Lori stitched it, and when Lori and Cheryl stitch, they do 1X at a time for more variegation. But I just wanted to show that I ended up with more variegation than they did. So even though I stitch in rows, you can still get variegation. Now, which one looks better? Lori's, of course. And she stitched hers on 25 count Lugana oatmeal. I used the same color oatmeal, but 14 count Aida. So mine will be smaller, hers will be bigger because of the fabric it's on, but we use the same thread. And I am going to, in 2022, as part of Jolly July, I'm going to stitch this again. I'm going to remove 2 of the items, so I'm only going to do 5, and I'm going to turn it into Christmas colors because this will look so great as Christmas, or any, you could do Halloween, you could do any, anything. So that's that one. The next one is my favorite. I haven't started June yet, even though we are in June. This is the May Sampler of the Month. The designer is Country Cottage Needleworks, and I'm in our club. So what I'm doing is I'm stitching on 16 count Beautiful Beige, and I am using all the called for colors. The only thing that I'm changing on this is each of the houses has windows, but when I do the windows, they're just not exactly what I want, so I'm leaving that back stitch off. And then So Blessed is by October House Fiber Arts. And this is my new favorite fabric. It is called 14 count Aida Pale Gray Gingham by Fabric Flair. So it's my new favorite fabric. And Denise and I have something so fun planned for August that you guys are gonna love, and it's gonna be on this fabric. And I used the called for colors, so I didn't change any colors. It took me only 9 hours. And I'm gonna definitely hang this in my sewing room. So I love this one. I'm very happy with it. And it was really easy because it's a lot of straight stitching in rows. And so you can do that in meetings, or, you know, you don't really have to think when you're doing it. It's not like if this was a quilt block, it would be a lot of start and stop. So very happy with this one. I was nervous. I just wasn't sure how it was going to look on the gingham, but it looks great and I'm very happy with it. The next one is what we introduced in January. It's called Monthly Markings, and if you go back to our very first video of 2021 on this channel, you'll find all the information on this. It is designed by Heart and Hand, and each month we're stitching one of the sections. So this is May. So I will stitch June. I'll start stitching June today, and as I stitch, I just add the border at the top and the bottom or the side. And then the next one is Rabbit Valley Studio, and she recently changed her company name, and so it might have a new cover starting soon. But here is my version of it. I have to think through what I did here, and this is why I have the book, because I cannot remember a thing. So this one took me 8 hours. I did change the colors. Okay, so I did change her colors, and now I remember I changed them because I didn't want to buy anything. So I already had Deep Sea Blue. I already had Bamboo. I already had this DMC. I already had these colors, so I didn't have to buy anything. And this is 14 count Beautiful Beige, and I love it. And so you can see hers. Her threads were darker, and she did 1X at a time, so you can see much more variegation. Whereas you can tell I stitched in rows because you can see the variegation goes vertically. So that was a lot of fun. And that was different for me, just a little bit different style. Another thing that I was able to do is when Priscilla and Chelsea release their PDFs at the end of the month, sometimes they add a bonus pattern. So this was Proud to Be an American. It came out last month. And when it came out, I loved the bonus piece that went with it. And here's the bonus piece. Stars and Stripes. So I think this is gonna go great with my calendar crates. So let me find it because I'm gonna show it to you. I think it's right here. Yeah. So I think it's gonna look great together. I'll pull these out. So I'm probably gonna do something where all three of these are together. And a lot of their stuff go together, which is what's great, so that you can build a tiered tray or build a little section on your like bookshelf or however you decorate. So those look great together, I think. And then my last thing that I worked on for FQS Stitch Mania is our charity that we're raising money for Make-A-Wish. We are at $76,000. Thank you to everyone, and we're almost done. So we've been doing it kind of as a row along. And so this is where I'm at. And now all I have, and this is completely free, guys. So if you want to stitch something, even use the thread you have in your house, not buy anything, you can just donate straight to charity. And the next release is going to be June 15th, which is next Tuesday, and this is the last row. So I will finish this last row, show it to you next Wednesday, and it'll be finished. So it'll be really nice because I took my time, took it all the way from January to June, and I'll have a finish, and I don't have to feel stressed out or anything because I've spaced it out over lots and lots of months. So that is a lot of my finishes, and now I'm happy to answer all the questions that you guys have asked. Denise said, I thought I heard at some point that there would be a color variation with flea market flowers. Did I make that up? I can show you what you're talking about. Flea market flowers. Let me go in my book, but I think I know what you're talking about. And it is on social media, but off the top of my head, I don't know exactly where, so I'm just going to show you this. So if you zoom in right here, take a screenshot. These are the colors I changed. So my changes are on the right and Lori's colors are on the left, and we did post this on our different social media channels, and it's also on our blog. I just don't know the exact dates we did that. So to make it easy, here's my changes. Do you ever stitch a piece with different brands of floss, like if you are using what you already have and not purchase anything? Yes, so if you look at this one, right here, this is Classic Colorworks and DMC, and it looks totally fine. So this light blue is DMC, the others are Classic Colorworks. So yes, I did, and on this one, I didn't buy anything. I used all the leftovers that I had from Priscilla and Chelsea charts to do this one. Okay, Elle asks, I'm not sure if anyone is going to know, but is Flea Market Flowers going to be a PDF at any point? Yes, 4 months from now. Sail Away is the best one yet. I love it. Oh, thank you. Would the blue fabric in Sail Away work for Freedom Patchwork? Well, let's see. So this is the blue, and Freedom Patchwork is right in front of me. So let's see what we think. Sorry, I had to grab it. So let's see, and I can put the fabric on, I think it might clash a little bit. What do you think? I guess you'd have to see. I think it might look okay. I think the blues would fight. I wouldn't do it. I don't think I would love it because I feel like maybe the color, like the color family of this blue is not the same as this. So I would say no. What if you snip part of the cloth when removing stitches? Is there any hope of repair? No, I don't think you can fix it. Maybe you could fray check it. So there is a product called Fray Check, and it's basically glue. So, but it dries clear. You could try that. I've never snipped my fabric. Now, I hope I don't jinx myself, but that's the only thing I could think of. I've never tried it. Katie says, I'm an experienced stitcher and have never heard about doing 1/2. What does it mean? Okay, we have a video on our channel about that, but I can show you in one of the ones down here. Okay, so we're gonna zoom in. And if you stitch over 2, you get a big fat stitch. If you stitch over 1, you get a really small stitch. So this is where I stitched over 2. Now I love Aida. The only reason I use the prairie cloth is because it's equivalent to 10 count. I think it's beautiful, and I'm able to see it with my own eyes, so I don't have to use a magnifier if I don't want to. The first Maynia you showed with Christmas quilt block, is it missing the brown row on the top and bottom on the far right? Maybe. This one? Let's see. Is it missing a brown row on top and bottom on the far right? I don't know. It looks right to me. Oh, you're right. It is. Ha! It's missing this whole row right here. Thanks for telling me. Yeah, I'll fix that. Oh my gosh, thank you for telling me. Yeah, I missed that whole thing. Oh, you think that I would notice that? Yeah, see, that's why I have you guys, so y'all help me out. Oh my gosh, that's so embarrassing. Can you show the flag pillow behind you? Yes, in a second, I'm gonna show it. Do you use a hoop or frame? No, I stitch in hand and I hold the cloth, and if you check out yesterday's video on Stitchy Talk or any of my Stitchy Talk videos, which are the first Tuesday of every month on this channel, you'll see exactly how I stitch. Do you have a beginner cross stitch by chance? I know how to embroider, but cross stitch is so intimidating and I want to learn. We are going to be releasing in the fall our beginner cross stitch series, so that's going to be great. Lori says, I love the pumpkin, Kimberly, and it looks great on my prairie cloth. Yay. Helen says, is the farmhouse Christmas thread pack enough thread for all 9? I think it is. So that's what I started with, and I haven't run out yet. So we always try to put enough. Of course, if you do like 10 count, you're not going to have enough because your stitches are bigger. Regina says, can FQS put a note on the website when a quilt book has a cross stitch pattern included? It's usually in the photos, but I'll put that on my list and we'll figure out a way to where we can make that somehow into our system. Is the packet thread for the entire design? Yes. Is that Lugana? Okay, so Pokey Little Pineapple, let me know. But the ones that I showed today, the Lugana, the ones that I showed today by Christy are all Lugana. How big is your piece of fabric? So I take my finished size for Farmhouse Christmas. I will tell you. Do you have a ruler? I'm just going to do it by a ruler. So I did do it square. I do know that. So hey, it's square and that's how I know. Let's see what size I cut it. Thank you. 19 inches by 19 inches. How big is the biddy board? The biddy boards are 7 inches square, and you can purchase them at Back Quarter Shop, or you can make them by yourself at home, and we have a video on our channel by Lori Holt showing how to do that. What size scissors can you take on a plane? Well, they actually, on the way back, they're not in here. Or I can't find them. Let's see. Yeah, I don't see them. We'll grab them. But I will show you the size scissors that I use. I actually thought that I was getting them confiscated because on the way back they checked my bag. And they also checked my son's bag, who's 11 years old, and me and his sister told him, make sure you do not take the water through the airport. You cannot take water. You cannot take water. Do not take water. What did he have in his bag? 4 bottles of water. I was like, can you listen, child? But yes, and he said he thought that we were just like joking. I'm like, what? Well, we don't fly that much, so I don't think he would know. But these are Omni Grid, and they're sharp, and I've never gotten them taken away. I did think that I was this time, though. Will there be a floss pack for housewives and to all a good night? Yes, and I will show it to you right now. There it is. This just went online in the last 24 hours. In fact, the last 12 hours. And I'll talk more about it at the end. But yes, I'm learning to stitch in hand. Any tips on how to keep the tension snug without over pulling? I think that just comes with time, but when you finish your stitch, just don't yank it. And just keep, if you're right-handed, keep your left hand steady. If you keep this hand really steady, that will also help. When will out-of-stock clappers and Sew Simple shapes come available? Clappers, they should be available in 1 month. Sew Simple shapes, it kind of just depends on the item, but I'd say 1 to 2 months because each of them come on different shipments. I'm new at cross stitch and I've only stitched on Aida, but I would like to try linen. Is there a certain type of linen you would recommend? I would start on, okay, so linen is different, but if you were gonna go to a product that you stitch over to, I would start on a Lugana, which is an even weave, and I would start with 25 count Lori's fabric because it's easiest. Then I would move to linen. Linen is not even, so the strands going this way and this way, they're not 100% even, and so it's a little bit harder to stitch on. So I would start with a Lugana or any type of even weave. Did you see any bears in Yellowstone? Yes, I can just, yeah, I'll show those in a little bit. Eileen says, my oldest whip is a baby sampler from when my first son was born 42 years ago. I found it in my stash. 1/1 on 22 hard anger. Oh my gosh. Are you going to finish it? Your son's probably going to be like, oh, you're a little late. So funny. Any update on frame for the monthly samplers? We email every week. I'm hoping anytime. We'll email again today. Stitching flea market flowers and shine on. Yay! And then Tanya has flea market flowers out and she's really enjoying it. So that's awesome. So now I'm going to just take a little time and talk to you about my vacation. So if y'all are not interested and you're not on live stream, you can like fast forward. But I'm just going to show you a couple of photos. The first photo, those are my 4 kids. So on the left is Emma. The second is Peyton. His twin is in the black shirt. His twin is Will. And my youngest son, who's actually the largest by far, is on the right, and that's Christopher. So Emma, Peyton, Christopher, Emma, Peyton, Will, and Christopher. And that was within the Yellowstone Park at a waterfall. Now, don't worry, behind them was a parking lot. So behind them wasn't like the waterfall. So that's why I told them to get on the rocks. I was very nervous the whole time just because everything is, you know, I didn't want them to run off. And let's see what the next picture is. Okay, we went horseback riding and Kevin and I asked the kids, well, the whole family, what was our favorite thing? And the vote was either the horseback riding or eating waffles at the top of a mountain. So we had a lot of fun. It was 2 hours and everyone really liked it. Emma's horse was very feisty and my horse didn't like her horse. So that was kind of funny the whole time. Our horses were like headbutting each other. It was very funny. And then that's me stitching on the plane. So you can see I usually have a bitty board underneath me, but I made my leg work and that's me. Christopher took the photo so you can see, oh, actually Kevin took the photo. So Christopher's right next to me. You can see him. He's trying to hide his iPad and hide behind his hat. So that's how I stitch on a plane. And that's me when I got to the hotel with Kevin. They had these gigantic swings. And my kids were in the swimming pool and I just sat there and stitched and I had a little bit of wine also. The next one, that is on the ride, the gondola to the top of the mountain to see the waffles. And I just thought it was a great picture of Emma and I, so I just wanted to show it. And then this was later in my vacation. We were driving down the road and I was stitching this. You can tell because I'm right in the middle of a stitch. And I'm stitching on July calendar crates and Christopher says, oh, there's an elk. So we literally just, Kevin rolled down the window. It was actually in a parking lot. We were in a hotel and we were driving down the road, which turned into a parking lot and there was an elk. And we had to have a little debate if it was an elk or a moose, but we think it's an elk. So I was not disturbing the animal. And then that's me going home in the airplane working on Freedom Patchwork. So there I put the good dot goose bag, and I just put my light right on top, and I just stitch, and I have my little piggy mask and no makeup because I was tired. And of course I have my little pillow that I take with me everywhere. And that is me at the pool. That was a different day at the pool, and you see that my light is sitting on my biddy board. And I have my thread on the left. I have no shoes on. I've got my little yellow scissors. I've got my hat. So that was, I think the last day they were at the pool. I don't get in the pool, so that's why I'm not in the pool. I don't ever get any pools. So those are some of my pictures from that vacation. Now later in the show, I'll show you my CrimeCon photos. When will the boxes for stitch cards be available? They are on the water right now, meaning they are shipping here right now, but it'll probably be a month or two. The next item I worked on, I was actually luckily able to stitch it before I left. So I'm going to show you kind of the dates since it's been a while, and we'll pop those up and show you. We are on week 14. So you can see week 14 is the heart, and that was what we needed to get done. So I actually had to do week 13, week 14, and I actually had to finish week 12 because I hadn't finished it. So now we'll look at my piece. And so I got all of this done. I don't know if I'm missing something there. Can you pop that image up again? Maybe I'm missing a stitch. No, I'm not. I might put some color in there. That looks kind of funny. And then this week we're going to work on this little, and then go back. We're going to work on the bottom, and then the week after we do this. So we've only got 2 weeks left, and then again, the same thing. It's great that we've spread it over time. This is in the Bonnie and Camille Quilt Bee book. And so only 2 weeks left, and I've been stitching on 18 count, which I don't know that I'll ever do that again. I wanted it to be small enough to hang in my sewing room, and I don't have a lot of wall space. So my only option was to use 18 count if I wanted to be able to display it in my sewing room. But I will say that I haven't loved working with 18 count. The next item that I worked on vacation, I did all of this on vacation. Before I left, I had part 1 done, which is right here, and we're going to pop up the chart with the dates. So week 1 was the left, week 2 is the middle, top, week 3, which will be next week, is the top on the right, and then the bottom is week 4, 5, and 6. So what I did is, when I was on the plane, I really didn't want to change colors a lot, meaning I didn't want to have to start and stop. This is what I was stitching on in that photo I just showed you, but I didn't want to have to start and stop and rethread my needle. So I thought the most efficient thing to do was just to stitch all this brown on the plane, which is what I did, which will help me in future weeks. But it was a way for me to be the most efficient on the plane, and then I was able to finish this while I was at Yellowstone. And so next week will be these 3. And one thing that I thought about, I'm going to show you on the pattern, and I'm going to show you one thing that I kind of thought about doing that I think is going to be a good idea. So one thing I think I'm going to do is I'm going to make some extra time this week, and I am going to do all of these at the same time. So all my leaves. I'm going to go in and just do a bunch of leaves and just get all that green done, because once you have all that green in place, you've got, like, you just have to add the little things. So that's what I'm going to do today, or sometime this week. I'm going to do all the greens. So when you come back next week, I'm going to have part 3 done, and I'm going to have all the greens done. And then that way it's going to make it super easy at the end, because why start and stop and pull your green out, put it back, pull your green out, put it back. So I kind of thought that would be a fun thing to do. And plus, I like to change things up. Sometimes I don't like to follow the rules. So that's one thing that I think will be super fun. And so let's see. Oh, I want to show Lori's real quick. So Lori's, this is Lori's. She is stitching on 36 count Cream and Sugar by Fiber on a Whim. She's stitching 1 thread over 2 holes. She's using the called for DMC, of course, because she's the designer, and I think that fabric looks great. And next week we will show you where she's at. And if you want to find Lori, she has a YouTube channel called Lori Holt, and she also has an Instagram that is Be Lori, or Lori Be Lori 1. So if you want to see, you can follow along with her, and you'll see all her pictures of her sewing that. At what count linen would you go from stitching 2/2 to 1/2? 38 and 40, I believe. 36, 38, 40. I have zero experience with that. Zero. I will never do that. I always say never. Don't ever say never. But that will be a never because I can't see. Kimberly, reference that light you took with you on the trip. I have it actually right over here because I just used it this morning. It is called Halo Go, and this is how it works. This is how I brought it today. It goes home. I actually have several of these, but I brought this one in this morning. So you just pull this up, open this, and this is what I stitch with most of the time, and it has 3 lights, and it just magnifies. So it's really the most, I have to have the magnification. Where did y'all stay? Oh, I don't know. We just stayed, we stayed in Yellowstone at like a cabin. And then when we were in the Tetons, we stayed at just like a hotel. Are those the Grand Tetons? No. Yes, they are, I think. Yes. So we drove like to another town to go horseback riding. I don't know if those are the Tetons. I'm really bad with direction. Like, I'm really bad. I don't ever drive the car when we're out of town because I will get us lost. I'm not a good driver. One thing that we did that was a great way to save money was we bought an app. It was called Gypsy something. And it was $9.99. And when you drove, it told you, hey, this is coming up. You can stop. Okay, and then they would say like, oh, this is coming up. You should stop. Or this is coming up. You don't need to stop, or this is coming up, you might want to stop. Like, it would give you kind of its advice. Kevin stopped at every single one, and I was about to die, but that's okay. But so we got to see everything. I mean, we pretty much did the whole park in 2 days, and the top of the park, all the roads are closed in the north for some reason. So whatever was in the north, we weren't able to do. Michelle says, love flea market flowers. I'm stitching on black Aida. Did you see RIP at Yellowstone? Okay, I saw the big Geisher. What's that called? Old Faithful. But I don't know. Okay, tell me what RIP is because I don't know what that is. Did I go whitewater rafting? Yes. And yeah, that's what I'm going to say about that. When we got there, you have to put on a wetsuit. 6 people. Okay, 6 people. Imagine, okay, my teenage daughter, yeah, she was like, sure, because she's like used to costumes and tight, used to all that. My sons were looking at us like, no. So it was us trying to get it on ourselves and then trying to get it on them. And it was when we asked the kids our favorite, least favorite, that was everybody's least favorite. So, and the reason why is it didn't really go fast. So my kids would have loved it if they could have gone over big rafts. They would have thought that putting on that wetsuit would have been worth getting really crazy because they're really crazy and they love they love the adrenaline. So they didn't really love it because it was very like straight. Now I loved that part of it, that it was straight. But they didn't think the benefit of the wetsuit and the kind of waves, they didn't really love that. Now they are open to doing it again, but it's got to be scary enough, and they don't want to put on a wetsuit. So I totally agree. Let me tell you, a 47-year-old woman in a wetsuit, we are not friends. And I kind of gave Kevin the look, and he said, you don't have to go. You can just leave if you want. And I was like, no, I'm going to do it. And I did. Could you explain the difference between regular DMC and pearl cotton? So pearl cotton is much thicker, and so that is used more in embroidery, and I've never used it in cross stitch, so I don't know that I have the exact answer for you. So now we're adding a special segment today that's really awesome. We are taking some of the patriotic stitches that I have done in the past and showing them to you. And this is a way to celebrate Flag Day or July 4th. And we did release a blog this week with all of the information with all of this. And it's just a great way to inspire you to get ready for July 4th. So the first one that I'm going to show is American Spirit. And it's right here. And all of these were finished by Priscilla Blaine, and all of this information will be on her blog. So this first one I made in 2020, it was part of the Stitch Quarterly in June. I didn't make this one though, did I? I did. Okay, I did stitch this one. Okay, so this one I stitched and Priscilla finished it. I stitched on oatmeal 25 count, called for DMC. And Priscilla finished this. The sign is from Hobby Lobby, and the number is 526-2795. And we have a video on how to turn this into a pillow. So this, I believe, is Denise's pillow. Cheryl's pillow. So we took Cheryl's piece. There's a stitch the exact same. Same fabric, same thread, and we have a video on how to make this cute little pillow. And we did the pillow as an envelope. And so you can just stuff it in, and we didn't have to do any hand stitching on the back. So we have that video. It's called How to Make a Small Decorative Cross Stitch Pillow. So we would love you to check that out. The next thing we have is Glory by Bend Creek. And I made this in FQS Stitch Mania 2020, so last year. So the pattern, that's the pattern. And here's my piece. It was finished by Priscilla. I stitched mine on Natural Light 14 count Aida by Witchell. The colors that I used in this piece and the next three pieces are all the same. Gentle Arts Carriage Black, Black Raspberry Jam, Buckeye Scarlet, and Chalk. All Gentle Arts. And so the one thing that I changed is I took the alphabet off. So it goes in order of the alphabet. I didn't do any of that back stitching. I'm not a fan of back stitching, and I think this looks great. I'm very excited that now I can take this home and decorate my house. And there are some Smyrna stitches in here, which are super easy. And we also have a video on that Cheryl has videoed for us on our channel on how to do Smyrna stitches. So very easy. That's another one that we have. The next one is called The Flag. It's also by Bent Creek. I use the same exact colors that I just showed you. And here it is. So this was also finished by Priscilla. I love it. And same fabric, same thread. This one is finished by Priscilla on a sign from Michaels. It is 106-22774. And this is, I know this is a Riley Blake fabric. I can't think of what it is, but oh, this is a Riley Blake gingham. And this is a frame. I'm not sure they still have it because it is from last year, and a pretty bow. And this one, there is a J missing. And the reason why is they used to not have J in the alphabet or something like that. And so they didn't put it in. The second to last is called Flag of Stars. So you see a theory, you see a theme here. I picked all Bent Creek designs, used the same fabric, same thread. And so this one actually is in a little bucket that I'm gonna put some stuff in. And here it is. So I stitched this on the same fabric, same thread, except I added blue jay, and that's this light blue. It's also Gentle Arts. And you can see when I stitch in rows, so my variegation is more in rows. Priscilla finished this on a bucket from Michaels. The number is 106-24859, and I would also say visit her blog so that if you need any details on anything, everything will be on her blog also. And then my last item is made in 2019. So this one was made the year before everything else. It is called Quaker Flag by the Stitcherhood. And I love it because it looks very quilty. It looks like quilt blocks. So this one is on a different fabric and different thread because I made it in the previous year. And we found this United States of America at Joann's. It's no longer available, but we got that a few years ago. And we painted it with Picket Fence Chalky Chick paint by Lori Holt. This fabric is Vintage Country Mocha 3706-3009. And my colors that I picked for this are Classic Colorworks Ribbon Red, Toasted Marshmallow, and Wavy Navy. And these two are Lori Holt ginghams. And then she put a bow. So I'm going to use it to decorate. And same thing here. I stitched in rows. So thank you so much to Priscilla for all of that. And now we have one of Priscilla's designs that she collaborated with Hands On Design. This is the very last of the series of the chalk full that were by Hands On Design and Priscilla Blaine. And so I made this one last year. And Priscilla finished this on it's like a little frame from Hobby Lobby. The number is 5720842. Chalkboard black. And this is chalk, and then the rest, this is chalk by Gentle Arts is the white, and all the rest of the fabric is Classic Colorworks. And I didn't change any of the colors. I just, usually if it's a Lori pattern or a Priscilla pattern, I try not to change the colors too much because I love the look of what they do. The next item is our club feature. This is June snapshots. So if you are in our club, we shipped the club around June 3rd. We do have a couple of kits left if you're not in the club. And Cheryl stitched this one, or actually I stitched half of it and Cheryl stitched half of it. But the reason I had to rely on Cheryl was I didn't trust myself to do the back stitches, so Cheryl did them for me. And that light that you're seeing right there, that's not a stitch. It's kind of glaring off right there, but that's not a stitch. And this is how your kit would look. And now I'm going to answer a couple of questions before I show what's new. Actually, okay, Rip is the main character on the show Yellowstone, Cole Hauser. Okay, I've never seen Yellowstone. I heard it's great. My brother and his wife watch it. And actually, Lori watches it. And all of them said it's great. But I haven't watched it. It's a drama, so I don't watch it. The only thing I watch are documentaries or true crime. A big thank you to Valeria Bauer for my super chat. She's my #1 fan, so thank you to her. I'm going to show some pictures from CrimeCon now. So when I got home Thursday night, and I went to CrimeCon, and I'll show you a couple of pictures. So this is Nancy Grace in the middle, and on the right is Joseph Scott Morgan, and I love Nancy Grace. I love that she is so nice to her fans, and Joseph Scott Morgan and his wife are also just wonderful people. The next photo on the left is Justin from Generation Y, and on the right is Aaron from Generation Y. They are the second people to ever make a crime podcast. The only people before them was Dan Zabansky, who still has his crime podcast, and I got to meet them, and that was amazing. The next one, that is Nate Eaton. So if you have followed anything in true crime, you will know who he is. He is the reporter who went to Hawaii and put a microphone in Lori Vallow's face and said, "Where are your kids?" And what he did was brilliant because he helped break that case open. The next photo, that is Natalie Holloway, Beth Holloway's mother. And that is a weird picture of Dr. Phil at the top and me at the bottom. So they did this weird thing where it's a green screen, and he sits at the top and I sit at the bottom, and that was just weird. But he did a very good talk at CrimeCon. I will say everyone was very impressed with his speech. So that was CrimeCon. Now CrimeCon is about, it always has a theme, and this year's theme was, how do you protect yourself and your family, and how can you be vigilant for everyone else? And if there's something that you hear, basically you see something, you say something, but about how to see the signs. And I was very glad that I was able to go. I just went by myself and it was amazing. I had a meal by myself. Okay, let me tell you, there's nothing better than sitting and having a meal all by yourself because there's so much peace and quiet. So now I'm going to show you kind of what's new. And there's a little bit more than normal because I was out of town last week. So this is actually our flash sale. This is an older DMC kit. So this is our cross stitch flash sale for today. The next item that is new, I've already shown, it's our Farmhouse Christmas thread pack. And also the All and to All a Good Night thread pack, which I've already shown, that goes with the Priscilla and Chelsea pattern. So you can get both the pattern now and the thread pack, and if you would like this pattern as a PDF, it will be available in a month and a half. Other Priscilla and Chelsea, because you know they're so prolific. Gosh, I've been gone 2 weeks and we've got like 10 patterns here. So this is Red, White, and Bantam and How Does Your Garden Grow? Both of these are now available as PDF as well as paper, so whatever your preference is. These are brand new as PDF. Paper, and they will be PDF in a month. So Up on a Pedestal and August calendar crates. So I will be starting August calendar crates. This, if you're in the club, is shipping this week. So I'll be getting my club this week also because I'm part of the club. So yeah, I'm going to be starting this. Now I probably won't start it until I finish with July's. The next items from Priscilla and Chelsea are, these are all PDFs. So this came out this morning. I love it. This came out last Wednesday. I love it. And matchy matchy. So all three of these look, let me try to get it all on the same frame. These would all look great together. So I'm thinking of making both of these, maybe not this year because I got a lot on my plate, but I am going to buy both of the patterns, and it would be so cute to have her frame them and have all three hanging down because they all go together. Or you could do this against the wall and these in a tiered tray in front of it. Anyway, I love it. I love those. And this was Fridays. This is a brand new series called Dapper Doodads that Priscilla and Chelsea are doing. And if you want to know more about that, watch their video from last Saturday. And this was the release from the Friday before. This is a brand new pattern from Brenda Gervais from With Thy Needle and Thread. It is a reproduction piece. So she took an older piece and reproduced it. It is in a color. Let me look. I'm pretty sure it is because I looked at it earlier today. Yeah, it's all in color. And we have a brand new pattern from Little House Needleworks called Sleepy Hollow Lodge. So she's doing some series that are very Western. So this is kind of part of that. This is Strawberry Harvest by Cottage Garden, and it is the 6th in a series. And so you can either do these individually or as a full big piece. And she does have a YouTube channel where you can find out more about that. And then the June typography by Pine Mountain Designs is available both as a paper and a PDF. And we also sell this little clipboard. The clipboard is by Buttermilk Basin and is manufactured by Riley Blake. And Pine Mountain Designs has a quilt store and a cross stitch store, and she sells all the same things. So this is how she displays it in her store on that same product. And then my last thing to show you is this is now available. It is the Punch Needle and Primitive Stitcher magazine. So half of the magazine is cross stitch, half of the magazine is punch needle. We have a thread pack, and I'm going to show you their design. I'm going to pull this off because I don't want to show you the chart, but I'm going to show you what it looks like. So this is Priscilla and Chelsea and Ronnie. because, you know, he's got to be in the photo. And then there's another chart in here that I think some of you guys might like. This is called Be Kind Sampler. And I thought some of you guys might also like that. And I did want to let you guys know that we do have a Fat Quarter Shop quilting channel. It's just called Fat Quarter Shop. And we also go live on Friday mornings, 9 a.m. and I show you all of my quilting. So I'm a very busy lady. I would love for you to also subscribe to that channel. And now I will answer all the rest of the questions that you guys have. Is 14 count and 16 count very different? Yeah, I would say for me, I can tell a difference. I'm going to show you two different pieces that are 14 and 16. It is much harder for me to stitch on 16 count than 14 count, but I have very bad eyesight. So let's see. Okay, so if I can get the, let's see, one of them is right here. This is, I've got 16 count right here. So I'm just going to pull one of these out. That's a 16 count. And this is Witchell. This came out of my bag that I got from Dot Dot Goose. I actually bought this one from Dot Dot Goose Designs. And this is, I need to start the June and the July sampler, but in here I have everything. I have all my fabric, all my charts, and all my thread is in here. So that is 16 count. This one is 14 count. I'll show you another 14 count also. This is also 14 count. It's very hard to tell, but basically in the 16 count, there's 2 extra squares within an inch. And so you have, when you're turning your needle, so for example, when you turn your needle, the way I stitch is I turn my needle from top to bottom, like this. That is much harder for me to do there, because I have less room than if I do this on a 14 count. I just can do it easier on a 14 count because there's more room here. Is there going to be a new patchwork pattern? This is the new patchwork pattern right here. It's called Freedom Patchwork. After this, we have 1 per quarter. And if you guys still like them, next year we'll do more. We'll probably just see how they sell, and if they sell great, then we'll just keep adding. And the next one is being stitched right now. It's cute. Kimberly, what do you think about Lori Vallow being found incompetent? I think that they are going to restore her competency, and I think she will eventually go to trial. I do not think she will get away. But either, you know, yeah, I think they will restore her competency. So guys, thank you so much for watching Fat Quarter Shop FlossTube. We truly appreciate your support. I hope you guys have a great week, and I will see you next Wednesday.